This is Cortland Sutton, wide receiver for the Denver Broncos, and this is the Tyler and Eli Fantasy Football Tips Podcast.
Father and son, boy, it's never been dead. Oops, I'm not done. We all about the fun, trying to be the one, not another bum. So, fantasy football tips, probably win one, maybe 2 or 3 ships. Oops, I'm Matt Hun. Eli is the one. Tyler makes the sum. Belosky and it's done. Boom.
This is the Tyler and Eli Fantasy Football Tips Podcast, Season 3, Episode 43. I'm your host, Tyler Belosky.
I'm your host, Eli Belosky.
And before we even get started, thank you so much, Cortland Sutton, rookie wide receiver, Denver Broncos, for that intro. Again, Eli, I met him at the Fantasy Football Convention down in Fort Worth a couple weeks ago. It was awesome. So, guys, we got more people coming later on throughout the season. But thank you again, Cortland Sutton, for that intro. Eli, how's it going this week?
It's going good. Not really much fantasy news yet. That's why we have no nines today. But it's been a good week.
Yeah, exactly. Just a heads up, we are a little echoey. We're in a new place today recording our podcast. So if it sounds a little different, it's just because we're in a new location just for this week. But yeah, you're right, Eli. Pretty slow fantasy football news week. I guess the biggest one would be Todd Gurley signed a huge contract for the Rams, but who didn't see that coming? They're going to keep their best running back on their team.
In a while.
Since Marshall Faulk.
Yeah, definitely.
And then that's about it. So the nines, which would be our news, info, notes, entertainment, emails, and stats. We have none of that information for you tonight because it's really slow. We do have a question off of Twitter that we will get to in a little bit because we're going to be doing our running backs rankings today. But first, we do have one comment, Eli, from the fantasy world, and it was from Jason Beck at They Call Me Dad 8. He says, the latest episode of the Tyler and Eli show just dropped. Check it out, guys. Not only do they offer great analysts, the father and son aspect is something special. Much respect, Tyler and Eli. Jason, thank you so much for that comment. That was from last week's podcast, but we just want to say thank you to Jason for saying that for us. And guys, continue to hit us up on Twitter at Tyler Belosky, Tyler Belawske, and we will read your questions, comments, anything else you want to do it, or you can leave it on YouTube, comments there, and make sure you subscribe and follow to both.
Yeah.
All right, so again, we have no nines, but we will get to our running back question right now as we get to our running back rankings, Eli.
Yeah, we did top 32. Again, we're probably not going to get to all 32, but probably just like 10 to 15, maybe 20 if we're going fast, but...
Yeah,
we like to keep it to 35 to 45 minutes long.
The podcast. Yep.
Yeah, the podcast.
All right, so number one, I have Le'Veon Bell, Pittsburgh Steelers. He's playing on the franchise tag this year. He's going to be balling out all year. He's going to touch the rock probably more than anyone else in the league, maybe other than Zeke. Just because I think they're going to run him into the ground, so he goes to a different team and he is, worn out. I do think he will get probably about, I'd say about 1,800 yards and about 7 to 10 touchdowns. I think 10 touchdowns would be great.
I think he'll get at least 10 touchdowns this year total.
And he's a great.
He's a great catching back out of that backfield. Big Ben likes to hook him up if no one's open, and he'll get those catches in PPR for you.
Exactly.
He's a really he's a great producer in PPR.
Exactly. Yep. And I was going to say 10 rushing touchdowns and probably about 5 receiving touchdowns.
Yeah.
All right, Eli, who do you have for number one?
Number one, I got Todd Gurley, just because. Well, not just, but one of the reasons is because Bell's going to be playing under that franchise tag. He's not going to do well, so that he's not going to do as well as he can. So that way he can get sent off to another team. That's what I think, at least. And with Todd Gurley signing this big contract, I think they're going to give the ball to him way more, even though there's still Jared Goff there with the newly acquired Brandon Cooks and Robert Woods. I still think Todd Gurley is going to get definitely most of the touches in LA this year.
I agree with that. He'll definitely be at least top 5 rushing attempts for this season.
Yeah.
He is slowly starting to. Slowly starting to like him more and more. His rookie year, he did amazing. Second year, he did garbage, obviously because of Jeff Fisher and his play calling. Last year, he did great, so hopefully this will be a continuation from last year. I don't think he's going to produce as high because they did bring in Cooks. They are developing Jared Goff to a passing game, but I have Gurley at 2 also. I think he's going to be really good. I'm not drafting him still. Number 1, I would still take Bell over him.
I think I would still take Bell over Gurley.
But I think
to start the league.
But I think if Gurley can outproduce Bell this year, I will start getting Todd Gurley more and more. He's just got to prove it to me this year. If he can stay consistently good, let me put it that way. Yeah. He is good, but let's see some consistency. Let's not see Doug Martin would do 1,400 yards and then 400 yards, 1,400 yards and 400 yards. I want to see consistent out of Todd Gurley, and then that'd be a good enough evidence for me to keep him.
Yeah, I hope he doesn't turn into a Doug Martin type guy, like just inconsistent, and you don't know when to draft him.
Exactly. All right, so I had Bell at 1.
I have
Gurley
Bell at 2.
All right, so I think we covered both of them pretty well. So you want to make that a world famous candy bar bet?
Yeah.
Most fantasy points?
Got more fantasy points. I think Bell will win, but I would not be surprised if Gurley wins just because of both teams have pretty solid offensive lines, and they're gonna produce great. I mean, they can both catch it, as we said, and it's going to be a close race for that.
It definitely will be. So I got Bell outscoring Gurley because you have Gurley. All right, number 3, we both have David Johnson. He's coming back from that wrist injury, which is good news because it's not going to affect his running ability. It's not like an ACL or a hamstring or an ankle. It's his hand. Yes, you need your hand to hang onto the football, but from all the tests, all the footage I've seen lately, he can hold on to it just fine. So plug him in as your number 1 running back, draft him number 3 or 4, and you'll be set for your fantasy playoffs. Obviously, depending on the rest of your draft. But I think David Johnson is just going to continue where he left off in 2016 with almost 2,000 yards, 20 touchdowns. That's total touchdowns. Because he can catch the ball.
Yeah, he likes to catch it.
He wants to be that guy. He said it himself. I can't directly quote it, but he wants to be like the running back who gets 1,000 yards and 1,000 rushing and 1,000 receiving yards in the same season. And he's back to do it. He's fast. The offensive line is getting a little bit better. They have Sam.
It's not the best, but
Sam Bradford's there, which is a little bit better than what they've had previously.
And then they drafted a quarterback from USC, Josh Rosen.
Yep.
Josh Rosen. Josh Allen went to the Bills.
Yep.
Yeah.
Anything else on David Johnson?
Not really. I just hope he comes back with a giant year this year because I really wish he did not get that wrist injury. Last year, it was like a little bit more than halfway through the year, and he was on track for probably 1,000 yards in both receiving and rushing. So I'm really sad that he got injured last year.
Yeah, I think the whole fantasy world was upset. Not just for sadness, but upset. All right, Eli, take over number 4. Who do you got?
I think we both have Ezekiel Elliott, and the reason why he's not above David Johnson is one, because David Johnson's way better than him. He has a better he has a better quarterback, I think. Better quarterbacks, but I just think Zeke is not going to do as well as the top 3 running backs for me. Just because of the passing game in Dallas. They have no Des Bryant, they have no Jason Witten. They have Allen Hurns, but other than that, there's really no one. I mean, they got Terrence Williams and Cole Beasley. But
Michael Gallup, the rookie, but he's a rookie. I completely agree with that. I think if you don't have a passing game that's going to load up the box, and no matter how good Zeke is, and he is good, unfortunately, I have to say that because I don't like the Cowboys. He is good, but I don't think he's going to be good enough to outrun, outpower through 9 players in the box.
Yeah.
I think teams are going to disrespect that passing game, which I don't blame them. I mean, you don't have the best
Yeah.
quarterback back there. You don't have the best wide receivers.
I mean, Dak Prescott is good. He's just not. He doesn't have the targets.
Yeah.
He never really has.
Exactly right.
Besides Dez.
So yeah, you're right, and he's not. He's a lot of people think he's going to be the MVP, not MVP, but a lot of people think he's going to have the most carries, the most yards. He's going to most fantasy points. I don't see that happening until they open up that passing game. And who knows? Maybe they'll surprise us and they'll have a passing game. But until then, I'm drafting Zeke no higher than 4. I can't risk. If I'm sitting there at 4, I may even take Antonio Brown.
Yeah, if I'm at the 4th spot, I'm taking AB.
Yeah.
I mean, it's either going to be AB or David Johnson there. I'm not taking
Zeke, not this year.
At 4.
He's going to get worn out by week 7 or 8 just because they're going to keep feeding him the rock, which is not a bad plan, but how's it going to produce in the playoffs for you? He's going to be worn out. They don't have the best backup running back in Dallas either, so.
Yeah, and he's kind of injury prone too.
Yeah, so just be cautious of Zeke. I mean, still take him if you want. I'm staying away from him, but yeah. All right, number 5, I have Melvin Gordon out of San Diego, or Los Angeles Chargers, I mean.
Yeah.
He is one of those quiet guys who not a lot of people like because he plays on the West Coast. And
what's wrong with that?
well, because a lot of the West Coast bias, everyone doesn't like.
I know.
Because everything's out of the East Coast, the news and everything. But
and because the Warriors are on the West Coast, and the Warriors are awesome, and people won't accept that. And they think,
for basketball,
and they just don't like the West Coast in general.
Okay, other than the beaches. But I've never been there, so I don't know. Anyway, so back to Melvin Gordon. Melvin Gordon, he has Philip Rivers as a quarterback, and they have a pretty decent receiving game. It's a little better than Dallas. That's probably what you're thinking. But Gordon can catch the ball out of the backfield. He's going to have an advantage because Hunter Henry's out for the season, so he's going to catch a lot more passes. He is a pretty fast running back. He knows what he's been doing.
He's pretty fast and agile, guys.
Yeah, this is coming in, I believe, his 4th year now, so he's seen the league. He knows how to get out of people's ways. I know it's not making a whole lot of sense, but guys, I love Melvin Gordon this year. If I'm sitting at 6 or 7 and AB and Beckham Jr. is already taken, I'm probably looking at Gordon.
Yeah. I used to be super down on Melvin Gordon. I did not want to draft him at all. But now I'm super hyped about him.
Well, he's more consistent.
I've seen him play. I've seen him get the numbers, and so now he's definitely a first rounder for me.
Exactly. Yeah, he's a lot more consistent. He's gonna be, if Todd Gurley can stay consistent like Gordon, then he'll be like Melvin Gordon. All right, Eli, number 5. Yeah.
Yeah.
Todd
the
Gurley.
Other way around.
Yeah. All right, Eli, number 5. Who do you have? And I think we're gonna start varying off in different directions now,
Just
which
a
is
little
fine.
bit.
Yeah.
I actually have the 2nd-year running back Alvin Kamara out of New Orleans. I think he's going to get close to the same numbers as Bell in both categories. I think he's going to get at least like 600 receiving yards for sure. At least 1,000 yards rushing.
I think it'd probably be maybe the other way around. I think because they still have Mark Ingram there.
Yeah, but I think they split them up good. They now Ingram's the third down back, kind of goal line back, and Kamara's like the starter. So I think that they've got a good thing going with the Saints running backs.
They'll definitely split the ball evenly in that area. It's going to help Kamara because Ingram's out 4 games, the first 4 games, so he'll get a lot of fantasy points then. Ingram's comes back week 5. They have a bye week 6, so I don't think Ingram's going to be playing a whole lot week 5 because he's still got to get his legs underneath him. So yes, Kamara will have that 4 or 5 week advantage of fantasy points for you. I do, however, think I'll go back to what you said: 1,000 yards running and 600 yards receiving. I think it's going to be the other way around. I think he'll get the 600 yards rushing and 1,000 yards receiving because that's more of his game style.
That's true.
Well, I think Kamara, Ingram, if he wasn't out, he would have been the 1,000 and 600, like you said. I still like him. I still like him as a weak number one wide receiver, a solid running back, week one.
Yeah, week one solid, definitely
Because
solid.
it's only his second year. I still need to see a little bit more from him because is he going to pull a Todd Gurley and be horrible now, or is he going to stay consistent and just keep going?
Yeah.
So that's why I have him down at number 9, just because I need to see just a little bit more to say, all right, he's a solid number 1. I think he's just getting so much attention because now he's the number 1. He was flashy last year, but he's still a great pick. I mean, take him especially for PPR. I'm just saying, for me, 5's a little high, but we're only 4 off. He's still a first-round pick. He's still an RB1.
Wait, you have him at 9?
I have him at 9.
That's too low for me.
Well, here's why I have number 9. Here's why I have him at 9. Because at number 6, I have LaShawn McCoy. Old man McCoy, he's, I believe, turning 30, 31 this year. He is coming back to Buffalo. Probably maybe 1 or 2 years left in the league itself. Yeah. But he's the only thing they have going in Buffalo this year. No quarterback, Calvin Benjamin, a receiver, but that's about it. He can catch the ball out of the backfield. They have either a new head coach or new offensive coordinator. Who's going to give him the ball a lot more. And he can produce. He's good for 1,000 yards and 7 touchdowns every year. He can catch the ball, like I said. He's probably going to get about 50 to 60 receiving yards with about 50 to 60 catches with 600 to 700 receiving yards and a couple touchdowns in there. But McCoy is he's solid. Yeah, they're going to stack the box, but I think he's a little more agile, a little more fluent and jukey and a little faster than Zeke, where Zeke won't be able to get out. He'll just try to run him over, where McCoy, being a vet like he is, will just zigzagging around all the players. So that's why I have Kamara down to 9 because I have McCoy at 6, and I'll keep telling the 7 and 8 before. But before you do that, who do you have at 6?
At 6, I got Melvin Gordon. I don't think we need to touch on him too much again. Who do you have at 6?
At 6, I have LaShawn McCoy.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. So who do you have at 7?
At 7, I got Leonard Fournette out of Jacksonville. He's gonna do big. I think this is his second year, or second. And he's gonna do great. He's gonna get the rushing yards. He's gonna get the attempts. I think the passing game will hurt him a little bit more than he'll get a little bit less than last year, but he's gonna get more receiving yards and catches. Just because there's no one in Jacksonville, and I think he's gonna get at least 1,000 yards rushing and probably 1,000 yards receiving too.
Ooh, that's a little high for receiving. I think rushing yards, he's probably going to be good for 1,300 to 1,400 because they're going to keep feeding him. For him, he has Blake Bortles, who's starting to throw a little bit more with garbage receivers, so they're going to stack it a little bit. One thing that does concern me about Fournette is he does have some injuries dating all the way back to college with his ankles and legs. But I have Fournette at number 7 also. I think he's a solid running back. He's built like a dump truck. He's going to bowl you over on the goal line. They don't really have any running backs behind him that's going to really steal any touches or goal line touches.
Yeah, like Chris Ivory's gone. He went to Buffalo.
They have T.J. Yeldon, but he's more of a receiving back than a goal line back. So he may
he might touch like third downs, but he's not going to get any touches.
Exactly.
He's just going to be out there to like block.
And by the time Blake Bortles checks down to Chris Ivory, he'll be sacked anyways. So he's
Chris
not
Ivory's gone.
I mean, T.J. Yeldon. By the time he looks down at T.J. Yeldon, Bortles will be sacked.
Yeah.
So, Leo Fournette, I call him Leo because we're best friends. Leonard Fournette, he's a solid number 1 running back. Get him on your team, match him up with another solid running back or wide receiver, and you got your first 2 draft picks set.
Yeah, definitely.
Number 8, I have Dalvin Cook.
Ooh.
He's coming out of 4-game ACL tear last year. And you're probably thinking, well, you have Kamara at 9 and you have Cook at 8.
Yeah, that's a little bit high.
Cook played less games than Kamara. Well, here's the thing. Kamara has no one in the backfield with him. He has Latavius Murray, so that's about it.
Oh, Cook has no one in the backfield.
He has really no one in the backfield, so he's going to be the main running back. They got a new quarterback with Kirk Cousins, so if they're not happy with the way he's throwing the ball to all his receivers, Who's going to get the ball? Cook.
Yeah.
So Cook is going to. I would think Cook's going to outproduce Kamara this year because he's going to get more touches in the receiving and running game combined. Only because Ingram is coming back after week 5. So that's why I have Cook ahead of Kamara because, and I'm not worried about the knee injury because from what I've heard from a handful of other people on Twitter and podcasts, his knee's healed, ready to go. He's been running around without a knee brace, which is huge. So yeah, I have Dalvin Cook at number 8. Who do you have at 8?
I got rookie running back Saquon Barkley.
Ooh.
He's gonna be a stud this year in the Giants at MetLife Stadium. He's got the new and improved offensive line. He's got the passing game, and he can catch the ball too. He's big. He can truck people. He can stiff arm people, but he's also agile and elusive. He can like juke people out, spin moves. He can do pretty much anything. Leonard, he reminds me of like Leonard Fournette. Not reminds, but he's like similar to Leonard Fournette to me.
Yeah,
like with the size and the elusiveness.
Yeah, a little smaller height wise, but it makes him a little faster. But yeah, I think that's a great comparison, him and Fournette, because he can truck, he can catch a lot better than Fournette. And I
don't know. I think Fournette's a better catcher.
But he does have a new head coach, and they need to change it up in New York. So I think they're going to get more of a running game going this year. They do have no one in the backfield.
Well, they got Jonathan Stewart, but I think they cut.
They have no one in the backfield. They have Wayne Gallum, again, no one in the backfield. So yeah, he's the number 1 running back. I'm
glad he went to New York, and they didn't just have who? No one.
No one.
That's right.
Gollum, Vereen, no one. So Barkley. Jonathan Stewart, yeah.
But I think they cut him. Maybe.
No, not yet. He's probably going to get cut, though.
Yeah.
All right, so yeah, I have Barkley down at 14 just because of the rookie status. If he's a 3-4 year vet, I'm up there with you now. But just because of the rookie, so we don't have to talk about him anymore. Number 9, Alvin Kamara. I have him there. We don't have to touch any more about him. I just need to see a little bit more proof, more stability, more consistency. So who do you have at 9?
I got Kareem Hunt out of Kansas City. Patrick Mahomes, not the best quarterback, but they got pretty good targets in Sammy Watkins, Travis Kelce. I think their offensive line is good enough for Kareem Hunt. He's gonna get a lot of catches. He's gonna get a lot of attempts, just because Patrick Mahomes hasn't really played any games this year or last year besides preseason games.
He played 1 game last year. But
week 17. Yeah. But that's just a trash week.
Yeah.
But I think he's gonna get close to the amount of touches he got last year as a rookie, and they got good targets, so they're not gonna stack the box like other teams like the Cowboys, and I think he's probably not going to finish as a top 10 running back, but I'd say he starts as a top 10 running back.
I can kind of get on board with that. I mean, because they have Spencer Ware in there. He is going to come back, guys. He's coming back. He's fully healthy. A lot of people saying, well, Ware's not going to cut into his playing time. He's going to cut into his playing time. He was the starter last year until he got hurt. He's going to come back. Andy Reid likes running backs. He's going to play. He's going to cut into Kamara Hunt's playing time. I don't think Hunt's going to be the leading rusher this year.
No.
Which is why I think you're going to kind of be right. He's not going to be RB1 at the end of the season because there's so many running backs this year that can cut into that. I have Hunt at 11, mostly just because from everything you said, but I'm going to add on Spencer Ware's coming back.
That's why I put him a little bit lower.
Yeah. So that's not bad. I mean, I like Hunt. He's going late first round, early second round. Because he's starting to fall a little bit. I think because people are scared of Ware and what they're going to do. So
yeah, they better be. Ware's going to come back firing.
Yeah, if anything, he'll be the third down pass catching back. So
yeah, and he's going to get a lot of touches that way too. Because they're not going to be able to get first downs with Patrick Mahomes. Not as well as Alex Smith, at least. But I don't know why they got rid of Alex Smith. I think budget.
Budget, and they think Mahomes is the real deal. All right, moving on to number 10 because we're slowly running out of time. I have Joe Mixon out of Cincinnati. I know it's a little high. I heard your little oof.
A little high.
I think he's going to turn it around this year. They upgraded the offensive line in the draft and free agency. Andy Dalton isn't the greatest quarterback, but they do have a decent passing game that help open up the running game. I am scared a little bit. I'll tell you this. I am scared a little bit about Gio Bernard cutting into his playing time.
So am I. That's why I put him at 26.
26?
Yep.
What?
He's completely inconsistent. Hasn't done anything since college. I can't put him as my starter.
He was dinged up a little bit last year.
Yeah, he's not. He hasn't done anything to prove to me that he's gonna be a number one or a starting running back.
Well, he'll start.
You have him as a fantasy wise.
Oh, as RB1?
Yeah.
You think he's gonna be RB2?
No.
A flex?
A flex bench.
Well, you're not going to get him at flex. People would take him before that.
Yeah, that's why.
But that's why you think he's going to end up as a flex.
That's
RB3.
where I would draft him if he was available. I'm not drafting Joe Mixon this year as my number 2 or number 1.
No, well, I wouldn't take. I personally would not draft him, but for ranking reasons, I want to put him at number 10. Wow. 26, Eli, coming out strong on Joe Mixon. Like I said, before you cut me off with your hate, I am scared of Gio Bernard coming in and taking over some of those rushing attempts. I think they do split the backfield like Ingram and Kamara in New Orleans. So I would have him a little bit higher. You know what, Eli? I may start dropping him down a little bit when I redo my rankings. It's possible. All right, 10.
Yeah, I might have to start going up more.
I think you're pretty set. No, who do you have at 10?
10, Devontae Freeman. If you guys didn't hear last episode, I am on the Devontae Freeman hype train. I think he's going to finish as definitely a top 10 running back. Easily top 10 rushing touchdowns. Probably even top 15 receiving touchdowns for running backs. He's going to produce crazy this year. They have a pretty good passing game, and I don't think they're going to rely on that too much this year. I think that he's in for a killer year in Atlanta this year. He's going to produce crazy.
Yeah, they just before we get into
easily RB1.
Yeah, I agree with that. They did upgrade the defense, so that'll help the the offense. They'll get the ball back more. They upgraded the offensive line, so that'll help the rushing game. They did upgrade the receiving game with Calvin Ridley in the draft.
Yeah.
The one thing that I would caution us about is Tevin Coleman.
That's the big thing, though. Yeah.
He is, however, he is on his contract year. A lot of people think he's going to leave because of the running back they drafted. I can't think of his name right now. Who they think that's going to take over for Coleman by the end of the year. So, but Eli, other than that, yeah, I love Freeman this year. I think if he stays healthy, because he kind of has.
Yeah, he has a little tendency
injuries.
To get injured.
I think concussions too.
Yeah.
I have him down at 13, but I could easily see.
That's not too low.
Yeah, it's not too bad.
26.
26 for Mixon.
That may be a little too low.
I like Freeman. I like everything he said. He's gonna get you at least 1,000 yards and 7-8 touchdowns. He's gonna catch the ball 7 to 8, not 78.
No, I think he's gonna get at least 10 total touchdowns.
Yeah. All right. So I have at 11. I have Kareem Hunt. We kind of touched on him a little bit. But I have him there at 11. This is his second year again. He's going to have Spencer Ware cutting into his time. So he's going to the back end of the first, second, early second, like I said. Freeman's going end of the roughly about mid to late second round, which is not bad. I mean, I'm not taking him in the first round.
Early third round.
Late
second, early third.
Yep, I've seen him go that far.
If you want to reach for him, mid second round. But I'm not really going to take him.
You team him up with Bell, Gurley, or Johnson. That's a great 1-2 running back right there. Freeman, that is. Hunt. If you team him up with Zeke, Gordon, and McCoy, that's not a bad 1-2. So, yeah, I mean, you can definitely – neither one of those guys, Hunt or Freeman, really should be your ones unless you go receiver first. Julio
Like if
Jones
you go two
and
receivers, then
you may be able to steal him in the third. Yeah. All right. So do you have 11? Did we do your 11?
No.
Okay.
LaShawn McCoy as my 11. We touched on him a lot. We don't really need to go back to that, but
why do you have him five down below me? I'm at 6.
I think the offensive line is going to be a problem for him this year. It's just not as well as it was last year, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I think they did upgrade a couple players, I think, but I don't think it's enough. It's going to be enough for LaShawn McCoy this year. I want him to have a big year, like I think Freeman will, and you think Mixon will, but I don't think he will, unfortunately.
And it's tough because that's all they really have in Buffalo. They haven't even made their starting quarterback yet. A.J. McCarron and Josh Allen. They haven't decided yet.
Yeah.
So it's going to be tough. They are going to stack the box, like we said. So yeah, I can see. Okay, that's a good other point. Would you take him as your number 1?
I think in a deep league, I'd take him as my number 1. But in a regular 6 bench league, 6 bench spots, I'd take him week 1 solid 2.
Week 1 solid, yeah. I think he's a solid 2. Yep. And you're probably going to take him probably
mid
third.
Second.
Late
second.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, mid second.
Same thing with like Freeman.
Yep, mid second to mid third is about where he's going. So yeah, okay. All right, so number 12, I have Jordan Howard out of Chicago. He is the man in Chicago this year. I know they have Tariq Cohen, but I think Howard.
I don't think he's going to cut into much like Spencer Ware's going to.
Yeah, not too much. I think a lot of the media are getting on Cohen because he's a good pass catching running back. He did a great last year.
Howard. Howard can catch the ball if he needs to.
And Cohen kind of faded a little bit toward the end of the season. However, he did great in the first and middle half of the season, but he kind of faded a little bit. They have a new head coach there who likes to run the ball. They have a decent passing game with Mitch Trubisky and Allen Robinson and all their other running receivers. So they're going to open up the running game a little bit. This is Howard's
They did lose Cameron Meredith to the Saints, I believe.
Yep. But they upgraded with Taylor Gabriel and
I'm pretty sure that was a
Anthony
trade.
Miller.
Taylor Gabriel for
he came in he came in as a free agent. But and they upgraded with tight end with Trey Burton. But Howard will produce as a number 2 or RB2 for you. He's not going to be your starter unless you go receiver heavy. So he's a great number 2 option. Team him up with like Bell, Gurley, Johnson, obviously. Or if you go receiver, he would be your number 1. And you won't be disappointed in that because that's your draft. If that's how you want to draft, that's how you're going to do it. Who do you have at 12?
12, I have Dalvin Cook. We touched on him earlier. I just put him so low because after the injury, I know he's going to come back healthy, but that injury does scare me a little. 1, because he might get injured again, obviously. And 2, I think that he's not going to come back as strong as he did going into the 17 season. So I think I just put him a little bit lower at 12 just because of that injury. I'm a little scared of that. And they've got Latavius Murray, which isn't going to do much, but he might take a big cut after that.
Okay, yeah. We touched on Cook. So at number 13, I have Devontae Freeman that we talked about a little bit already, so we don't have to do too much more of him. I just like him that low because he is an RB2. He will produce like an RB1. But for me, he's behind all those other guys. I may end up switching him with Kareem Hunt maybe by the end of the preseason. But I have Freeman at 13. Eli, who do you have at 13?
Christian McCaffrey from Carolina. He's got C.J. Anderson behind him. He's not going to take a big, giant cut out of that. But I actually have C.J. Anderson at 32.
Ooh, I don't have C.J. ranked.
Well, yeah. But I think C.J. Anderson isn't gonna do much to take away from McCaffrey. I mean, McCaffrey's gonna be catching balls. C.J.'s gonna be like the red zone back, basically.
Probably more of the goal line.
Yeah, goal line
within
back.
5 yards. Yep. Yep.
But I think Christian McCaffrey's going to have a pretty solid year. He's a okay too, solid flex. He's got Cam Newton, not a bad quarterback, and they have a pretty solid passing game. Although they did lose no one.
No one, I don't think.
Yeah.
They added someone.
They got DJ Moore, so
Yep.
that's pretty good.
Yep, rookie DJ Moore. Funchess at number 1.
And then Greg Olsen back from the injury last year.
Yep. Yeah, I agree with that. I like Christian McCaffrey. I have him at 15 just because he's that low because of C.J. Anderson taking some goal line touches away.
Yeah.
McCaffrey is that swing back. He'll get the swing passes. I think he's going to be good for 800 and 800 receiving rushing yards, maybe about 7 touchdowns each, so about 14 yards, 1,600 yards total. He's not going to be the every down back. I think if they need that 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2, they give it to Anderson, who's kind of that put your head down and bowl people over. But
McCaffrey's not like that because he could get easy. He's a little bit injury prone, which scares me a little bit.
Yeah, and he's
That's why
small,
I'd take him as That's why I'd take him as my strong flex.
He's a 2 flex type depending on how you draft, and he's going anywhere roughly now about the 3rd round. I think,
like mid third to early.
And
fourth.
that's just your draft strategy. Again, if you're a receiver, he wouldn't be a bad number 1.
But I'd take like Jordan Howard
exactly,
or like
exactly.
LaShawn McCoy.
He'd be a very weak number 1 running back. Unless it's a PPR league, then you're going to see those PPR points. But he would be a very weak number 1 running back for you.
Yeah.
But if he's sitting there though in the 3rd round, 4th round, take him because you get those fantasy points. Good for at least 15 to 20 points a week.
Yeah, definitely.
Right,
Who do you have at 14?
14, I had the rookie Saquon Barkley out of New York. Again, we touched on him. Upgraded offensive line, upgrading head coach, passing games up there, so open up the running lanes. I think he'll hit that rookie wall probably week 7, 8, 9, 10, so be on the lookout for that. Watch the schedule, see who they're playing. He's going to have a tough game week 1 against Jacksonville.
That's going to be tough.
That's going to be tough.
Especially with everyone new. They're not going to know, like... I have them taking an L there.
I do too.
I'm pretty sure it's in Jacksonville, too.
Yeah.
So... Yeah. That's going to be tough.
And maybe week 2, because usually they open up the season against the Cowboys. So week 1 or 2.
Yeah, week 2 they play the Cowboys at home.
Oh, okay.
I think they'll win that game.
They should. They always beat the Cowboys.
Yeah.
But so
that is true.
Yeah, Barkley just be hesitant. He is going 1st round. I mean, it's pretty high for a rookie running back who hasn't done anything. But take him if anything.
Like late first. Or
late
second.
first. Come back around and get Howard in the 3rd, and then you'll have a 1-2 right there, or 2 2s.
If you want to take 2 running backs in the first 2 rounds. All right, I have number 14, Jordan Howard. Don't really need to go back to him. I mean, he's going to do big with only Cohen behind him. So he's going to be a week 1 solid 2 running back, as we said earlier.
Okay. All right, we're going to do one more. We'll stop at 15. We are running slowly out of time. So I have 15, Christian McCaffrey. We just touched on him a couple of picks ago with Eli at 12, 15, so it's only 3 apart. Again, C.J. Anderson's cutting into his time. But other than that, he's good for RB2. All right, who do you have at 15?
15 to close it out. I have Jerick McKinnon from San Francisco. The only reason I put him this high over like Mark Ingram and Alex Collins and like Lamar Miller and all those guys and Joe Mixon is because he's the only running back in San Francisco now with Carlos Hyde gone. He's gonna he's gonna get big numbers. He's gonna get big everything. I think that he'll definitely produce like a number 2 running back, but I'm gonna take him as my flex.
Yeah, he'll be your RB2. A lot of people are taking him late 1st, early 2nd round.
That's too early.
I have him ranked number 29.
Ooh.
Ranked 29 because that's probably a little too low. I'm looking at my rankings now. I may bump it up to about 25. But just because he's only been in the league 3-4 years, he's never been a full-time starting running back in Minnesota, splitting time with Matt Asiata, LaShawn McCoy, and Latavius Murray, and Delvin Cook. So he's never had a full workload. And to move him to his full-time starter out in San Francisco, I know they have the Shanahan kid out there is the head coach who loves running backs, who can supposedly.
He's a pretty good
He
head coach.
he is a great head coach, and I know some of his running backs have produced, but they've been on better teams. I just don't think McKinnon will prove to be that number RB1 running back for you on your team or in the rankings at the end of the season. I think he's going to end up outside the top 12 for fantasy production.
Yeah,
I think he's
yeah,
getting so much.
same,
I think he's
same.
getting so much media attention because he's, it's a new high contract. He's signing a free agent, huge contract. Don't be disappointed. Well, I guess you will be disappointed when you take him in the second round and he produces like a RB2 flex. So I caution away.
That's way too early. He's not a number one running RB.
Yeah, to me he's not, and I'm not going to draft him that high. If he falls to me in the fourth round, I'll maybe take him
He
as my
won't.
number 2.
I don't think he will.
But just be cautious of McKinnon this year.
Yeah.
He's never done a full workload, and don't be upset if he doesn't produce that. Just
Which
be
he
cautious.
probably won't.
All right, so as I said, we're going to stop at 15, and Eli, we do have a question from Twitter, just came in. This is from Jamie Zadu. He actually is on the Across the Fantasy Pond podcast. So he has a question. Before we even get there, Eli had to step out real quick. I do write for the AcrossTheFantasyPodcast.com, so check out those articles and everything. That's a great website. I just got done writing one, Golden Tate versus Marvin Jones. Eli, you got to check that article out that I wrote. So check it out, Golden Tate versus Marvin Jones, and who should you pick. But back to the question for Jamie Zadu. Sorry, Jamie, if I pronounced the last name. And you can find him on Twitter at Jamie Zadu. The people just call him Z, so just call him Z. You know what I'm talking about. He wants to know, Eli, with Dante Foreman's recovery from an Achilles tear up in the air, do you believe in Lamar Miller, and where should you draft him?
I don't believe in him as my number 1 or number 2. I think he's a solid flex if you want to take an RB flex. But I'd draft him. I'd probably draft him on like the first slot of my bench, and then like switch him out, like play the matchup for my flex. I'm not gonna draft him early.
Yeah, I would. If I went receiver heavy, he would probably be my RB2.
Yeah.
If I don't,
Like 3 receivers in the first 4 rounds.
and then a quarterback or tight end, and then But as far as Devontae Foreman, he is most likely going to be on the PUP list, so he's out for the first 6 weeks. And so I'm not even drafting Foreman this year, not in a redraft league. For Miller, I'm taking him anywhere after the 7th round, again, as either my flex or an RB3 or 4, depending on how my draft is.
Yeah, and if it's a deep league, he's a good starter, though, because he will get catches. He will get some catches. He's going to do pretty good in Houston this year, especially with Deshaun Watson coming back.
Yeah, I think this is a make or break year. He's been up and down. He was
definitely.
really great in Miami for the first years of his career. First year in Houston a couple years ago, he fizzled out. Last year he did decent. So this is a make or break year. If he doesn't do it this year, I think Houston has to start.
I won't draft him anymore.
Yeah, I think Houston will have to start looking in another direction. And we said it last week, and you heard it first last week and second this week. Le'Veon Bell to Houston next year if Miller doesn't do anything.
Yeah, I could totally see that going that way. If the Steelers do get rid of Bell and he goes to Houston, I really hope they get a solid running back. Not exactly Lamar Miller, but a guy like Lamar Miller. Just because Miller's getting older on the older side of football, at least.
Yep, Tevin Coleman will be a free agent next year. Some people think he may land there.
That'd be nice.
It would be. It would be bad.
Yeah.
All right, so that's going to wrap it up for our rankings this week. You can find us on Twitter at Tyler Belawski. It's TYLER BELAWSKE. You can find us on YouTube, and only YouTube for right now. Just type in the Tyler and Eli Fantasy Football Tips podcast. Make sure you subscribe, leave some comments, and make sure you like and follow. And Eli, any final thoughts?
I think again, if Houston, if LaShawn McCoy goes somewhere else next year, or they cut him or something, then I think the Bills are not gonna they're not gonna make the playoffs for a long time, unless they replace him with like a Tevin Coleman type guy or like a Lamar Miller type guy. I think next year, since like with LaShawn, I don't think McCoy's a free agent next year, but I think next year if some certain running backs go, then some teams are going to be in trouble.
I completely agree. I think Buffalo's already going to be in trouble this year.
Yeah,
they're not going to make it. My final thought is I just want to say thank you to Jamie and Jason for your comments and questions on Twitter. Thank you guys so much. It's helping the podcast grow every single week. Again, I want to thank Cortland Sutton, rookie receiver from the Denver Broncos, for the intro.
I think he's going to actually, and I'm not just saying this, I think he's going to produce a lot this year.
I think he's going to be a really deep sleeper rookie wide receiver. I think with Sanders and Thompson out there, getting a little older, new quarterback Case Keenum. I think he's going to be great this year. Could be a sleeper pick for you guys. Yeah. All right, so that's going to do it for us. I am Tyler Belosky.
I'm Eli Belosky.
And this has been the Tyler and Eli Fantasy Football Tips Podcast. We tell it how it is.